Dear learners, today we are going to start chapter 5 of section 2 of course Biopharmaceutics and Pharmacokinetics. The topic today we will cover is biopharmaceutics classification system. Learning outcome of today's lecture. On completion of this lecture, you will be able to explain about drug product performance, define bioavailability, bioequivalence, pharmaceutical equivalents, pharmaceutical alternatives, therapeutic equivalents, relative bioavailability, and absolute bioavailability. You will also be able to describe importance of bioequivalence studies with reference to NDA and ANDA. You will be able to classify drugs based on solubility and permeability, and will be able to correlate biopharmaceutics classification system and BioWaiver. Now, before talking about drug performance, what is I would like to tell you what is the purpose of BCS, that is biopharmaceutics classification system. The purpose of BCS to characterize drugs for which products of those drugs may be eligible for a bio waiver of in vivo bioequivalence studies. Now, what do you mean by drug performance, drug product performance? Drug product performance in vivo may be defined as release of drug substance from the drug product leading to bioavailability of drug substance. Means drug product performance depends on bioavailability of that drug which is released from drug product. Bioavailability and bioequivalence can be considered as measure of the drug product performance in vivo. Bioavailability is one aspect of drug product quality which links the in vivo performance of a new drug product to the original formulation that was used in clinical safety and efficacy studies. While bioequivalence studies are drug product performance tests that compare the bioavailability of same active pharmaceutical ingredient from one drug product to a second drug product. Means bioavailability means it is availability of drug at the site of action, and in bioavailability study in vivo performance of new drug product which is formulated to the original formulation which was used in clinical safety and efficacy studies is compared. While bioequivalence means it is a comparison of bioavailability of same active pharmaceutical ingredient from one drug product to second drug product. Means comparing you are comparing same API from one product to another product, that is bioequivalence. Means comparison of active pharmaceutical API present in two drug products. Now we will ponder to some of the definitions. What do you mean by bioavailability? So FDA defines bioavailability for a given formulation is an estimate of the relative function of the orally administered dose that is absorbed into the systemic circulation. What do you mean by bioequivalence? Bioequivalence means the absence of significant difference in the rate and extent to which the active ingredient or active moiety in pharmaceutical equivalents or pharmaceutical alternatives become available at the site of drug action when administered at the same molar dose under similar condition in an appropriate design study. Means bioavailability means estimate of relative fraction of orally administered dose that is absorbed into systemic circulation. Means when a drug is orally administered, how much fraction of that dose is available in systemic circulation, that is bioavailability. And bioequivalence means it is a difference in rate and extent to which API present in pharmaceutical equivalent or pharmaceutical alternatives become available at the site of drug action when administered at same dose and under similar condition. So bioequivalence is nothing but bioavailability of one API present in different products. Either it can be pharmaceutical equivalents or pharmaceutical alternatives. Now, what do you mean by pharmaceutical equivalents? Drug products are considered pharmaceutical equivalents if they contain the same active ingredient, are of same dosage form, having same route of administration, and are identical in strength or concentration. For example, Parasip 500 and Crocin 500. Both are in tablet dosage form. Both are having same API, that is paracetamol. Both are given orally, and they are same in all way, but they are prepared by different companies. So that Parasip 500 and Crocin 500 are pharmaceutical equivalents. Means same drug, same dosage form, same drug concentration, same route of administration, and everything is same, but the both are different product from different manufacturers. Now, what do you mean by pharmaceutical alternatives? Drug products are considered pharmaceutical alternatives if they contain same therapeutic moiety, means same API, but are different salts, esters or complexes of that moiety, or are different dosage form or strength. Means, for example, it is given here tetracycline hydrochloride 250 milligram capsule versus tetracycline phosphate complex 250 milligram capsule. So both these tetracycline products are termed as pharmaceutical alternatives. Here, what is the difference? The difference is salt form is different. One is tetracycline hydrochloride and another is tetracycline phosphate complex. And both are available in capsule having same strength of API, but they are known as pharmaceutical alternative. Now, another example of pharmaceutical alternatives is quinine sulfate 200 mg milligram tablet versus quinine sulfate 200 milligram capsule. Here moiety is same, salt form is same, dosage form is same, but the difference is formulation. One is tablet and another is capsule. So this is pharmaceutical alternative, means they may be same active moiety but different salts, different strength or different dosage form. Now, what do you mean by therapeutic equivalents? Drug products are considered to be therapeutic equivalents only if they are pharmaceutical equivalents and if they can be expected to have same clinical effect and safety profile when administered to patient under the conditions specified in the labeling. Means how you can describe therapeutic equivalents? Two drug products are considered to be therapeutic equivalents if they have same clinical effect, means same efficacy and same safety profile. Next two definitions, relative bioavailability. What do you mean by relative bioavailability? It is a comparison of bioavailability of two drug product formulations, that is relative bioavailability. And what do you mean by absolute bioavailability? Absolute bioavailability compares the bioavailability of active drug in systemic circulation following extravascular administration with the bioavailability of same drug following intravenous administration. So, relative bioavailability, it is a comparison of bioavailability of two drug products or formulations, and absolute bioavailability means bioavailability of active drug in systemic circulation following extravascular administration. Now, what do you mean by extravascular administration? Say oral administration. To the bioavailability of same drug following intravenous administration. Means one drug, means a drug you have to administered orally, and same drug you have to administered and systematically and intravenously, and you have to compare bioavailability of both. So that is absolute bioavailability. Now extravascular, I have given you oral example. It can be others such as ophthalmic route of administration and many other. So extravascular means something which is not directly to systemic circulation. So comparison of intravenous administration, bioavailability of drug following intravenous administration to that of the bioavailability of drug in the systemic circulation after extravascular administration. Now, bioequivalence studies in new drug development. Now, what do you mean by NDA, new drug development? NDA is filed for marketing authorization of new drug. Means first, when how there is a flow of or what is the flow of drug development? First is pharmaceutical characterization, then if it is successful, then then preclinical study, that is animal study, then IND is filed, that is in investigation new drug application. Now why IND is filed? So that if you are getting good results in preclinical studies, now you want to go for clinical study. So to initiate clinical study, you have to file IND. And once the clinical study is over in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, then now you are you want permission for marketing. So for that NDA is filed. So this is bioequivalence studies in NDA, means when bioequivalence studies are done in NDA. So during drug development, bioequivalence studies are used to compare early and late clinical trial formulations. Means if you want to compare clinical trial formulations of early stage and late stage, then bioequivalence studies are done. Means you are comparing that both the formulations are having same bioavailability. Then formulations used in clinical trials and stability studies, if different, means formulation which is used in clinical trial and formulations which are subjected to stability studies are different, then bioequivalence studies are done. Then clinical trial formulation and to be marketed drug product, if different, if there is a little change in clinical trial formulation and formulation which is you are marketing, so for that bioequivalence studies are done. Means through bioequivalence study you are proving that there is both the formulations are similar. Then product strength equivalence as appropriate. New formulations of previously approved products, such as a new fixed dose combination version of two products approved for co-administration, or modified release version of immediate release products. Means if you have already two products approved or co-administration, if they are approved, and now you want to uh, launch, or you want to go for new fixed dose combination of those approved products, so in that case you need bioequivalence study. Or you want to uh, convert immediate release product to modified release, so in that case you have to go for bioequivalence study. Now bioequivalence studies in abbreviated new drug development, that is ANDA. Now ANDA is for generic products. Now what is the difference between brand name drugs and generic drugs? Brand name drugs are also called as innovator drugs, and they are initially marketed as new chemical entities, while generic drugs are copies of brand name drugs, and they are produced after the original patent expires. Now, for generic drugs, comparative drug product performance studies are important in the development. Means when you go for generic products, you have to show comparative drug product performance, and you have to compare generic drug products with that of the brand or innovator product. Clinical safety and efficacy studies are not generally performed on generic drug products, as the generic drug products are copies of innovator or brand products. Generally clinical safety and efficacy studies are not done, because that is already proved while filing NDA, and generic drugs are copies of brand or innovator drugs, so these studies are not required. Since the formulation and method of the manufacturer of a drug product can affect the bioavailability and stability of the drug, the generic drug manufacturer must demonstrate that the generic drug product is pharmaceutically equivalent, bioequivalent, and therapeutically equivalent to the comparator brand name drug product. So, clinical safety and efficacy studies are not generally performed, but a manufacturer of generic drug product must demonstrate that their generic drug product is pharmaceutically equivalent, bioequivalent, and therapeutically equivalent to brand name drug product. Drug product performance comparison for oral generic drug product is usually measured by in vivo bioequivalence studies in normal healthy adult subjects under fasted and fed conditions. Means for oral generic drug product performance comparison is usually measured by in vivo bioequivalence studies. Drug product performance comparisons in vitro may also include comparative drug dissolution or release profiles. Now, coming to biopharmaceutics classification system, which is also known as BCS. The BCS is a scientific framework for classifying drug substances based on their aqueous solubility and intestinal permeability. BCS is a regulatory mechanism through which drug developers and generic companies can obtain a waiver of clinical bioequivalence studies, also called as a bio waiver. Now, we in our previous slide we had seen that for generic drugs there must be bioequivalence study. Means you have to compare and you have to prove that generic drug products are therapeutically, pharmaceutically are equivalent to that of the innovator drug. But using this BCS classification for some class of drug, you can get waiver. Waiver means there is no need to perform bioequivalence study. Now we will see BCS classification. There are four class. Class 1 is high solubility, high permeability. Class 2 low solubility, high permeability. Class 3 high solubility, low permeability, and class 4 low solubility and low permeability. In class 1, that is high solubility, high permeable drugs, examples are propranolol, verapamil, metoprolol. Class 2, low solubility, high permeability, ketoprofen, naproxen, carbamazepine. Class 3 includes ranitidine, cimetidine, atenolol, vancomycin. While low solubility, low permeable drugs include furosemide and hydrochlorothiazide. There are number of drugs, but these are just examples for your reference. BCS and biowaiver. When the in vivo dissolution of an immediate release solid oral dosage form is rapid or very rapid in relation to gastric emptying and the drug has a high solubility, the rate and extent of drug absorption does not depend on drug dissolution and or gastrointestinal transit time. Under such circumstances, demonstration of in vivo bioavailability or bioequivalence may not be necessary for drug products containing class 1 and class 3 drug substances as long as inactive ingredients used in dosage form do not significantly affect absorption of active ingredient. Means what? If for immediate release solid oral dosage form, if it is the release or in vivo dissolution of these immediate release solid oral dosage form is rapid or very rapid in relation to gastric emptying, and if these drugs are highly soluble, then the rate and extent of absorption of that drug does not depend on dissolution and GI transit time. In such case, demonstration of in vivo bioavailability or bioequivalence is not necessary for class 1 and class 3 drug substances. Means class 1 and class 3 substances means high solubility, high permeability, and class 3 is high solubility, low permeability. This class as well as this class. So immediate dosage release dosage form of these two class, when the in vivo dissolution is very rapid or rapid in relation to gastric emptying time, in that case if the drug has high solubility, the rate and extent of drug absorption will not depend on dissolution or gastrointestinal GI transit time. So in such case, you may or that drug generic of that drug does not require demonstration of in vivo bioavailability or bioequivalence. That means biowaiver can be given to drugs belonging to class 1 and class 3. The BCS approach can be used to justify biowaiver for highly soluble and highly permeable drug substances, that is class 1, as well as highly soluble and low permeable drug substances, that is class 3, in immediate release solid oral dosage forms that exhibit rapid or very rapid in vitro dissolution using the recommended test method based on number 1 solubility, permeability and dissolution. So one by one we will see what are the criteria for solubility. The solubility class boundary is based on highest strength of an immediate release product that is the subject of a bio-waiver request. Means how based on solubility on the highest strength of an IR product that is the subject of bio waiver request. A drug substance is considered high soluble when the highest strength is soluble in 250 ml or less of aqueous media at pH range of 1 to 6.8 at 37 degree plus or minus 1 degree centigrade. So when you consider your drug is highly soluble, if the highest strength of that drug is soluble in 250 ml or less volume of aqueous media within the pH range of 1 to 6.8 at 37 degree plus or minus 1 degree centigrade, the volume estimate of 250 ml is derived from typical bioequivalence study protocol that prescribe administration of drug product to a fasting human volunteer with an 8 fluid ounce glass of water. So from where this 250 ml volume has come, that is normally we take 250 ml of water, that is 8 fluid ounce glass of water. 8 fluid ounce generally comes around 236 ml, so almost it is 250, near to 250 ml. So that 250 ml has come from when the drug product is given to fasting human volunteers with 8 fluid ounce glass of water. Next is permeability. The permeability class boundary is based on indirectly on the extent of absorption of a drug substance in human and directly on measurement of rate of mass transfer across the human intestinal membrane. So permeability you can evaluate indirectly based on extent of absorption of a drug substance in human or directly by measuring the rate of mass transfer across the human intestinal membrane. A drug substance is considered to be highly permeable when the systemic bioavailability or extent of absorption in human is determined to be 85% or more of an administered dose based on mass balance determination or in comparison to an intravenous reference dose. Means when you say that your drug is highly permeable, when the systemic bioavailability or the extent of absorption of that drug in human is 85% or more than that. Now last is dissolution. An immediate release drug product is considered rapidly dissolving. When you say that your drug is rapidly dissolving, when a mean of 85% or more of the labeled amount of the drug substance dissolved within 30 minutes. So when your drug is considered rapidly dissolving, when 85% of the label amount or more than that is dissolving within 30 minutes, when you are using USP apparatus 1 at 100 rpm, means there are conditions. So rapidly dissolving, when you can say it is rapidly dissolving, when the drug release is more than 85% or 85% minimum within 30 minutes using USP apparatus 1 at 100 rpm, or you can use apparatus 2, but that you have to operate at 50 rpm, or at 75 rpm when appropriately justified in volume of 500 ml or less, or you can use 900 ml when appropriately justified in each of the following media. Now, which are those medias? Point 0.1 normal HCl or simulated gastric fluid USP without enzyme, pH buffer, pH 4.5 buffer, and number 3 pH 6.8 buffer or simulated intestinal fluid USP without enzyme. So for rapidly dissolving, what is the criteria? The criteria is there should be minimum 85% or more than that release within 30 minutes. If you are using USP apparatus 1, you have to operate at 100 rpm. If it is apparatus 2, at 50 rpm. If it is justified, you can use 70 rpm, and the volume of dissolution medium will be 500 ml or less, or sometimes 900 ml when justified, in 3 media. Number 1, simulated gastric fluid or 0.1 normal HCl without enzyme. Number 2, pH 4.5 buffer, and number 3, pH 6.8 buffer or simulated intestinal fluid USP without enzyme. And the same immediate release product is considered very rapidly dissolving when more than 85 or 85% release is there within 15 minutes using above mentioned condition. So today we have discussed about what do you mean by biopharmaceutics classification system, class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4 drugs, and what do you mean by ANDA, NDA, various definitions such as bioequivalence, bioavailability, absolute bioavailability, relative bioavailability, therapeutic equivalent, pharmaceutical equivalent, and when bio waiver is given with respect to BCS. So thank you all for patiently listening. Have a good day.